everyone, my name's Allie and welcome back to my channel, Mindful Living. So today on my channel, I'm showing you guys a brand new recipe video, which is my favorite. It's breakfast hash, 2 different ways. In this video, I will show you 2 different ways to make this breakfast hash. You can very easily make different variations of this breakfast hash. It really depends on what you have in your fridge and what flavors you like. For my recipe today, I'm going to show you guys how to make Southwestern and Mediterranean inspired breakfast hash. It's simple, it's easy, it's healthy, and it's so delicious. So let's go ahead and get started on the recipe. So for this recipe today, you are going to need about 3 to 4 potatoes, depending on how big your portion size will be. I'm going to be using 3 potatoes today. I'll make sure to leave the recipe details in the description box below. So I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly cut these potatoes. You want to leave your potatoes in cubes because we are making hash browns today. So how big the cube is up to you. I like it to be bite-sized. Okay, and once we're done chopping, it should look something like this. Small bite-sized pieces, and we're gonna go ahead and transfer that into a bowl and set it aside for later. Moving on to our next ingredient. Onion will be used in both of these recipes today. So we're going to chop up a full onion and use half of it for breakfast hash number 1 and half of it for breakfast hash number 2. So go ahead and roughly chop your onion. It doesn't have to be perfect, and once you're done, you can go ahead and transfer that into a bowl as well. Next, we're going to be chopping up a green pepper. Again, I'm going to be chopping this into bite-sized pieces. And this is going to be used in the first breakfast hash, which is sort of Southwestern inspired. It has tons of flavor and it's so delicious. Go ahead and transfer that into a bowl and set it aside for later. And the last thing you're going to need for breakfast hash number 1 is cilantro. You can also feel free to use any herb of your choice if you don't like cilantro. Okay, and let's get started with cooking our potatoes. I'm just drizzling them with a little bit of olive oil. This is optional, and I'm going to be actually cooking mine today in my air fryer. I absolutely love my air fryer. It makes the potatoes so crispy. If you don't have an air fryer, feel free to just bake them in the oven. That works great too. And I'm just seasoning mine with a little bit of Cajun spice here. Feel free to use any spice you have. You could use garlic, but I'm gonna add a little bit of Cajun to this one, and that's just gonna give it a little bit of heat. Go ahead and pop that into the air fryer. Set your temperature for 350 degrees, and we're gonna cook this for 10 minutes to start. While that's cooking, we're gonna move on to the toppings. So I'm gonna start by putting a little bit of olive oil in my pan, along with the green peppers, and I'm just gonna saute those on a high heat for a few minutes. Once they're halfway cooked, we're going to add in the onion because it takes a lot less time to cook the onion. And go ahead and keep sauteing until it is done. So go ahead and keep sauteing for another few minutes or so. You want to make sure to check on your potatoes in the air fryer. I like to pull out the basket and shake it around a little, and that just makes sure that nothing sticks and it's getting evenly golden brown. They look almost done, so I'm going to turn the temperature back to 350 and cook for another 5 minutes. At this point, my green peppers and onions are smelling and looking amazing, and they're ready to go. So we're going to start on our egg. You can feel free to use 1 egg or 2 eggs. It's really up to you and how much you want to eat. I do find this plate to be super filling, so I'm just going to top mine with 1 egg today. And let's go ahead and start assembling our plate. So I'm starting with the potatoes on the bottom, adding in the peppers and onions on the top, From there, you're going to need grated cheese of your choice, and I'm just going to use a little bit of marble. Next, I'm going to top it off with a bunch of fresh cilantro, but feel free to use any herb that you enjoy, along with half an avocado that's been sliced, and lastly is our fried egg. And I'm just going to sprinkle a few red pepper flakes on top just to give it a little bit of added heat. This is optional. This is a Southwestern inspired breakfast hash, so I really love the flavors here. It's fresh, it's delicious, it's healthy, it's so simple to whip up in your kitchen. It's one of my favorite things to enjoy for breakfast, so I really hope you guys give this recipe a try. We're going to move on now to breakfast hash number 2. So for this breakfast hash, we're going to use some of the ingredients we already prepped earlier, along with a few others. So I'm just getting started with a few cherry tomatoes here, and I'm going to go ahead and slice those really fast. This breakfast hash is Mediterranean inspired, which is one of my favorites and has so much flavor. So these are the other ingredients here that you're going to be using. It's going to be topped with fresh dill, feta cheese, onions, and tomatoes. So let's get started on our filling since our potatoes are already roasted in our air fryer. For this one, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to the pan along with my onions. I'm going to quickly saute those for a few minutes until they're ready. You don't really need to cook your tomato for too long, at least I don't like to. I like my tomato to be very lightly cooked, so I just throw that in the last minute or so of cooking. Once that's done, I'm going to top it with a little bit of dried basil. Again, this is optional, but I just wanted to give the tomatoes and the onions a little bit of extra flavor and make it a little more Mediterranean. Okay, let's go ahead and start plating. I'm going to start with the potatoes on the bottom. Next, I'm going to add on the onions and tomatoes. The next step is a fresh crumble of feta cheese. You can use as much or as little as you like here. The feta adds so much flavor, it's one of my favorite parts of the dish. And next I'm going to top it with a little bit of fresh dill. And lastly will be our fried egg and a crack of fresh salt. And there you have it, Mediterranean breakfast hash number 2. This one is a little more decadent, it packs lots of fresh flavor still. If you want to keep it on the lighter side, just use less feta cheese. It's still very healthy and filled with veggies and lots of delicious flavor. It's really hard for me to decide which one I like best, but they're both staples in my house. I hope you guys will give these recipes a try. Leave me a comment below if you do, or let me know what you guys are cooking in your kitchen right now. If you guys enjoyed this video today, make sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See you guys in my next one.